Hello, everybody. I'm really excited about hosting today's gathering on ProtaStructure 2022. I'd like to go through the agenda of today. So I will briefly talk about the Prota software today. I will just do a quick recap of ProtaStructure 2022. And also I will try to cover what has been done in maintenance releases after the initial release. And then I will finish by uh, talking about the 2023 roadmap. Anyway, so introduce myself. I'm Mustafa Tan, and I have been working in Prota as product manager and software architect for 20 years now. I'm a structural engineer by profession with a master's degree on earthquake engineering. But of course, the history of Prota software and ProtaStructure dates back far before me. As Prota software, we have been developing structural engineering software for over 35 years and it's still counting. Prota has been growing at an increasing rate, and we are helping engineers around the world to deliver their projects efficiently. So as of this day, we supply to over 70 countries around the world. Now we support 9 languages and 25 international design codes. Before continuing, maybe I should talk about focus of ProtaStructure 2022, and that's also the focus of 2023. As you know, we have released ProtaStructure 2022 on the 1st of March, and our focus was to introduce as many modeling capabilities, modeling and design capabilities as possible to increase the efficiency. We wanted to implement new design codes and languages to extend the reach of our customers. Of course, we always want to provide constant improvement in performance of the software. And we are developing and we are focusing on developing more and more beam integration tools for better coordination. So these were the main focuses that we shape our products around, especially in the year 2022 and for the next version. So without further ado, let's proceed with the recap of the features introduced in the year 2022. So maybe you have already seen this material around in our videos or the new features documents, but I will just quickly talk about them. So as I said, we focused on extending the ProtaStructure's capabilities in terms of code coverage and localization. So with 2022 version, we supported Polish, Romanian, Serbian, and Slovene languages, and we are still working on to provide more and more languages, so we can better localize the product. So, and also the main catch here is you can set UI and report languages separately. So it's not only about the user interface, but also the design documentation. And of course, we have other already supported languages like English, Spanish, Portuguese, and Turkish. We supported imperial units. You can use those units in modeling, analysis, design, and documentation. And the better part is you can always switch between unit systems at any time. For example, if you are not familiar with working with imperial units, you can just work in SI units or metric units. And when you pass to the documentation phase, you can just convert the units to imperial and you can generate all detailing and documentation in imperial units. That's the practicality. So we implemented new codes and we extended the existing code support in 2022. I must say that new codes are underway. I will talk about them later at the end of this session. We are not stopping implementing new codes. We are always working on new design codes, loading codes, and seismic codes. So what we have supported in 2022 was the Romanian seismic code and snow loads, wind loads to Colombian codes, wind loads to Peru codes. We supported Peruvian seismic codes, again Peruvian RC beam design codes, and also for Brazil. We supported Indonesian seismic code 2019. Again, we support Indonesian and Philippines RC design code for beams. We have implemented the automatic snow load calculations to Eurocode base codes, Romania, and Poland national annexes. Snow load calculator is in the form of a wizard, and it will guide you step by step in calculating the snow loads in your region. We have done a lot of work in seismic force, seismic code support, and one of the features was introduction of the non-structural member forces. So, in short, ProtaStructure 2022 can calculate forces on non-structural members and their connections to the building according to ASC 7, Eurocode 8, and Turkish code. So what you do is you specify the non-structural member and their properties, and ProtaStructure will automatically calculate the story accelerations and forces depending on the analysis type. Again, another seismic check was the seismic separation calculation. As you know, to avoid pounding damage in adjacent buildings, we must provide spacing between structures. If you need to design the seismic separation between two buildings, you can use this tool. You can either load the displacements of an existing ProtaStructure model or enter the second model's displacement, and the calculations will be again done to ASC 7, Eurocode 8, and Turkish codes. Again, in 2022, we improved actually the strong column and joint shear checks. So we can, of course, do these checks according to ACI, Eurocode 8, and Turkish codes first of all. And we can cover reinforced concrete and steel special moment resisting frames. In addition to the code coverage, these reports are written from scratch and now include more visual components. Another important addition was the introduction of the user-defined site coefficients, FA and FV. These are familiar for our users who are using the US codes actually. So we have done this for US, Indonesian, and Thailand codes. So if you are using a regional implementation of US code, you can just fine-tune these parameters to adjust the spectrum to your project needs. But of course, as you change the site class, these values will revert back to the code-based values. A similar improvement, as you know, the ProtaStructure automatically compares response spectrum base shear to the equivalent static base shear and scales up the internal forces and displacements. But this scaling is not done up to 100% of static base shear, depending on the selected seismic code. Besides, scale factor changed with the existence of any structural irregularity or not in the system. Usually, if the structure is irregular, there will be a penalty in base shear, scaling by utilizing a larger factor. So now these RSA scale factors are user editable in ProtaStructure. So you can override the code-based values by using the options in the seismic parameter window. So that means, again, you can adapt to the regional implementations of seismic codes very easily. And we have done a lot of work actually in terms of beam interoperability in 2022. As you remember, it was one of the focus areas of the product. So we introduced the SAF import and export functionality. So SAF is an initiative from Nemetschek Group to improve the collaboration between structural engineers by developing an open exchange format for exchanging data between structural analysis software. The SAF format is actually based on Excel format. It's very simple, unlike IFC. So the purpose here is, of course, the simplicity. The SAF communication is currently supported by a leading structural and architectural software. And Prota is also participating in the work group in that sense. So in 2022, we did the first implementation of the SAF format, and more will come with the future updates on this. A small but effective improvement is about the analysis results. You can now export all the analysis results to Excel, and then you can refine the results, interpret the results in Excel as your project needs. One of the revolutionary features in ProtaStructure 2022 was our new and flexible loading system. But of course, you don't need to worry because ProtaStructure already calculates and decomposes all the standard loads from slabs to beams, and we already calculate all the lateral loads and all the vertical loads automatically. But you may still need to apply additional loads in any orientation and load case. This is one of the major needs and requirements in the project engineering. So for this purpose, you can use the new interactive load editor. For example, you can now apply horizontal loads on the beams along their lateral axis. In addition to this, point and uniform loads can be applied on truss joints and truss members. You can also visualize the loads in 3D. You can view the entire story with the loads applied to it, and you can even apply loads on the story view. I'm really sure, I'm confident that you will find a lot of flexibility and interactivity in the new load editor. This is maybe the most important feature in ProtaStructure 2022. And thanks to the new loading framework, you can now create more than one gravity and live load case and assign loads to them. In addition to this, you can specify if these cases will contribute to the seismic masses or not. In the previous versions of ProtaStructure, our users, of course, could create these load cases, but couldn't assign loads to them. But with the new version, we can assign all types of loads in the user-defined vertical load cases and consider them in seismic mass calculations. This will actually help you categorize your vertical loads. For example, if you have an equipment load that you want to apply different combination factor, you can just create a new equipment load case and assign loads to it, and you're done. So another essential type of loading is the static and dynamic loads of soils on the basement walls or parts of your building that acts as a soil retaining structure. So ProtaStructure will allow you to specify your soil profile, water table, and surcharge loads. Then static and dynamic loads will be automatically calculated and assigned to shear walls and basement walls. Of course, you can do further editing on the calculated soil loads and even create a detailed reports on this calculated load. Okay, I'm just trying to go through them quickly, so we don't spend a lot of time on the details. You can always see the details on our documents. I will talk about them. So, in order to complete the load assignment and load creation infrastructure in ProtaStructure, we developed a new load copying and pasting functionality. So you can now copy and paste loads between members for any load case and load type using a single interface. ProtaStructure also can optionally calculate a detailed load profile for infill walls with openings. The exact positions and dimensions of the openings are considered, and the load profile is calculated accordingly. Of course, this is optional. If you want to apply the infill wall loads in a uniform distributed manner, you can still do so. But this is just an addition for the ones who want a detailed profile calculation. Okay, let's continue with the modeling tools we introduced in 2022 version. So you can now create steel domes with the help of a highly parametric wizard. In fact, steel domes were among mostly asked features from our users. So you can independently control the geometrical and section properties for crown, longitudinal, latitude, brace, and purlin members. After you insert the dome, you can easily load it using the load editor. Of course, after the analysis, you can design the dome members, the individual members that make up the dome. So here on the screen, you see the load editor and how we load the dome. Okay, this one I like a lot actually. Now, as you know, curved frames are one of the mostly encountered structural members in the design of structures, especially in steel structures. In the new version of ProtaStructure, we make it possible for you to insert curved frame members in any plane orientation. It can be on a horizontal plane, it can be curved in the vertical plane or any inclined plane, and you can load them freely, again, thanks to the new loading editor. So you see on the screen, I define the curve members, and I extend the columns to the elevation of the curved members automatically. So as I said in the beginning, one of the major focus items for us is to improve the performance. So we always strive for improving the performance of our products. So in ProtaStructure 2022, we focused on increasing the performance of 3D visualization engine and user interaction. And we achieved performance gains between 3 to 10 times, depending on the model size. So design. In terms of design, we had taken a lot of steps to make it more transparent and more seamless. So one of the items was about flexible beam rebar patterns. So the multi-layer beams, the multi-layer beam rebars was one of the most asked features from our users. So in order to provide that feature, we extended our beam rebar patterns. So in the beam settings, now you select among various patterns, and you fine-tune the properties of these patterns, and you fine-tune the behavior of these rebars in a certain pattern. So that all the beam lines, all the beams in your structure will be designed according to the pattern you customized. So that's actually a huge improvement over the existing beam design functionality in the previous versions. So in short, by these patterns, you can now introduce as many layers of bars as possible in your beams, in the reinforced concrete beams. So as a part of this endeavor, we improved the slab design UI, and we improved the slab design report. So first of all, it's now more user-friendly, enabling you to copy-paste the bars and to see the details of the design in a drill-down manner. And also we have modernized the slab design report and decorated it with visually appealing tables and intelligent notifications. Now also the slab design report is now more comprehensive and can automatically be created in batch mode. Another step we took was to introduce a detailed step-by-step pile cap and pad footing design reports with formulas and code references. We also developed an integrated finite element mat foundation report. The design of a mat foundation actually includes more than one component. So what you do is first you check the base pressure, soil pressure, whether it is exceeded or not. And again, you do the slab design and you do the punching checks. You check the contours, and you have several components, several items that you need to bring together in a mat foundation design. So we did it for you, actually. What you can do, you can just select what you want to include in the mat foundation report, and an integrated report is created for you to review. And it includes the contours, all the geometrical properties, all the spring stiffnesses, subgrade reactions, slab design punching check, and so it's a really comprehensive report that you can find in a mat foundation report. Okay, so let's continue with the analysis framework. Again, it's an important feature, an important part of the software that we developed. So here on this video, you see here we are isolating the floors of the building and analyzing them under vertical loads only. So this approach is actually preferred by engineers who want to design against vertical loads by approximating to conventional methods by short frame analysis. This is also preferred because it also eliminates the frame effect due to differential axial loading in a 3D building analysis. So ProtaStructure 2022 now makes it easy to analyze the floors separately. You can control the mesh sensitivity and other mesh parameters, such as inclusion of column outlines in the FE mesh. You can also preview the FE results very easily by quickly switching between stories in the analysis post-processor. When you're done, then you can proceed with the design of slab reinforcements using vertical loads only. So in short, I can say that with ProtaStructure 2022, FE floor and foundation modules are now fully integrated with the main program. It will provide you a more seamless experience. We now have a unified meshing engine and data structure. We have a faster and improved visualization. I'm sorry. We have better RAM, CPU, and GPU utilization. We now support better FE contouring. We can now visualize the slab strip diagrams in 3D. And also, we have a special plan view for diagrams, as you saw in this short video playing on the screen. So you see here the 3D slab strip diagrams collecting results from the station points. And also you see the detailed profile on the screen, and etc. So let's see, you see here the special plan view diagrams. When you switch to plan view, the diagrams are also translated to the plan view counterparts. Okay. And another improvement and new feature was to do the soil structure interaction analysis in a single run. All you need to do is you just model the foundation and run the analysis. In the previous versions, you had to do some iterations, but that's not really necessary anymore. You just model all the physical members and you hit analyze button, and the building on elastic foundation is automatically the model will be automatically created, and you will see the analysis results shortly here on the screen. So as you see, the foundation is now a part of the building. What we do, we remove the supports like fixed support or roller support. Instead, we use the shell members on the foundation, and we use the springs, soil springs, as the support for the building. So let me maybe quickly talk about the Protostil, and then I will just talk about what we have done in the maintenance releases. So I know that you like Protostil because it's a really great product for inserting and designing connections and creating still detailed drawings, workshop drawings, and fabrication drawings. So we made Protostil even better with 2022. So it's now more performant, and it supports 64-bit software architecture. And also it has gone a complete facelift featuring modern ribbon toolbar. I can easily say that Protostil is now even more compatible with usage habits of draftsmen and industry standards. So we developed a new macro gallery which makes it a breeze to pick the desired connection type and categorize it in several tabs. One of the powerful features of Protostil is the ability to create user-defined connections and save them for later use in similar joints. We have now developed a new wizard that will make your life even easier when you want to create user-defined connections. Just follow the wizard instructions and you're done. So macro dialogues are now more intelligent in Protostil 2022. Input fields now display the actual values used in connection macros. Before that, all the text boxes were empty, and now a gray color indicates the automatically calculated value or a previous default value. Red means a new user value is entered, but it is not reflected in the macro yet, and the black indicates a user value that's reflected to the macro. You can now use the angle cleat connection to create a simple connection between beams and columns. This also supports a detailed design check report. In addition to the standard splice connection, Protostil 2022 introduces the new bolted end splice connection. This connection may be particularly preferred in the low moment and low tension scenarios. And again, when it comes to base plates, end plates, there's a significant amount of variations and design scenarios. And with Protostil 2022, you can now insert base plate connections to box and pipe sections. Okay, an important usability improvement comes with the object selection in Protostil. In Protostil 2022, the selection operation automatically groups the selected objects. When you do a selection and hit enter, and a window will pop open, and you can fine-tune, narrow down the selection on the fly with respect to different materials, profile names, plate thickness, and several other object attributes. Okay, now I believe I managed to recap the outstanding features of ProtaStructure 2022 as it was released on 1st of March. But of course, we didn't stop there. As of now, we have introduced more and more features in the software, and we already released them to or maintained users with the maintenance releases. So that's what I call the maintenance releases. So, as I said, we have released ProtaStructure 2022 on the 1st of March. It was the first customer shipment. After that, we have released 6 maintenance updates, each including major new features, significant performance and stability improvements. And we wanted to release these features right away to our maintained users, without waiting for a new major release. We just didn't want to wait for 2023, and we just released them to you so you can benefit from these new features. And the last update was on 18th of August, with the version number 60392. And we are currently working to implement the user feedback, and we are planning to release another updates, which will include new features and improvements. And we plan to release it towards the end of September, maybe, yeah. So let me quickly dive into what we have done after the release of 2022 in the maintenance packages. So first of all, a significant performance improvement was made in the save operation in ProtaStructure. It's now maybe 30 times faster to save a project, depending on the project size and the computer's hard disk model. Of course, we always say that we recommend you to use an SSD hard disk, of course, but the main improvement was in the settings. We improved the read and write operations of the settings. So now it is reduced maybe down to 15 milliseconds from 2.5 seconds. So we achieved an incredible speed in the save operation with the latest version. With ProtaStructure, slabs now can be inserted inside a slab edge line. In ProtaStructure, we have a tool called an edge line. You can think of it as a polyline or a sketch line. So you can just sketch a polyline and you can insert a slab inside that sketch line boundary. So that means you don't have to define any access around the slabs anymore. So that's the improvement there, actually, and you can insert the beam members inside the slab region. And as an extension to that, when you insert beams in the slab, in a single slab panel, inside a slab panel, now these beams can be meshed automatically with the slab. In the previous version, the beams had to be on the slab boundaries, but now this necessity is removed with the latest version, and you can now freely insert beam members inside the slab panels, and they will be automatically meshed. So again, with the 306 version, the maintenance version, you can now assign supports to beams at the end of the beams and frame members. The previous versions of ProtaStructure allowed the supports only bottom nodes of the columns or walls, but now you can assign the supports like fixed support, roller support, or hinge support to the end of frames and beams. So why is it important? Because with this significant new feature, you can now model a broader range of structures, and you have now more flexibility in terms of modeling. In practice, you don't have to model any columns or walls, depending on your structure. So you will see the example right now. So here you see some examples. Now we can now also visualize the supports of the beams and frame. So you see in these examples, you don't even need to define any columns or walls in your models. So you can just create the model. For example, if maybe you have a roof structure, a canopy structure that you want to model, and you can model it with beams and frames, purlins and claddings, and assign supports, and that's all. you can already do you can already assign different types of load thanks to the new loading editor, and hop, you're done. Again, another important feature, it's very handy actually, is the ability to indicate the analytical lines of frame members in the 3D view. Maybe I have to elaborate on this a little bit, because in ProtaStructure, frame members can be assigned physical offsets to shift them in or out of their plane with a rigid body transformation. So this shifting does not affect the location of the analysis wire, and it is particularly helpful to keep the analysis model simple and the physical model constructible. So, in other words, engineers usually don't want to create an eccentric analysis model with lots of rigid links and lots of small frames and lots of nodes very close to each other. In other words, engineers usually don't want to create a dirty analytical model just to model simple eccentricity. These eccentricities are usually applied for constructing a connection, for example, but you don't want to change the analysis model. So now ProtaStructure will show you the analysis wire with a dashed line if a physical offset is present in the frame member. So another important feature is the ability to exploit the truss members. ProtaStructure already has a comprehensive and flexible truss macro, allowing you to create parametric trusses from an extensive library, or you can even create your own truss members with the truss editor. You can even create trusses from your existing DXF files if they are already drawn in the CAD editor. Additionally, in ProtaStructure, you can already freely apply loads on the trusses in any direction at any load case. So these are already the existing features which are really comprehensive regarding trusses. So why do we need to exploit these trusses? So it's so the need for flexibility doesn't end. So maybe you want to apply, you want to analyze this truss separately from the structure. So as you see in the picture, I exploded the truss and I assigned the support at the top and at the bottom chord, and I applied loads to it, and I analyzed it independently on a model, for example. Or maybe you want to explode the truss and you want to treat the frame members, the diagonals, verticals, top and bottom chords separately. Maybe you want to edit them to your need. So as I said, the need for the flexibility doesn't end. So with the latest version, now you can explode the truss members. Another important feature was the dynamic axis dimensioning during modeling. We now support it on 2D and 3D screens. This feature will give you better insight into project dimensions as you add, delete, or update the axis in the model. So it's dynamic, and at first sight you will get a good insight into your project dimensions. So with the latest updates, we improved the measure command significantly. So you can now snap to any 2D and or 3D points, including line intersections, solid object vertices, extensions, intelligent element element points, axis intersections, and so on. So the measure command now works in 3D and 2D with a lot of object snap functionalities. So you can measure the distances between any points on the screen practically, and the result will be reported on the screen. It will persist on the screen until you cancel the measure command, and it will also be reported on the yellow box at the top of the screen. So another mostly asked feature was ability to show and hide selected members. Sometimes when the model is too crowded, it may not be easy to concentrate on the portion of the structure that you want to work on. A truss or a purlin might be getting between the camera and the object of interest. So in that case, you definitely need some sort of hide and show functionality. So to help with this, we introduced the show hide selected members functionality. All you have to do is select the members that you want to show or hide, and right click and run the command. That's all. And also a similar functionality is the show selected only functionality. This is the opposite of the previous one. So you select the members and you just show the selected members. Another handy feature developed with the latest ProtaStructure is the ability to narrow down the selection set with a dynamic criteria. So you can narrow down the selection by story, member type, material type, or individual members. So what you do, you just draw a big window, maybe to select all the members in the model, and you right click and say filter selection, and the window will pop out, and you can select the criteria to narrow down the selection on the fly. That's really a handy feature. So another important improvements in still design is the ability to edit the still design parameters. So during still design, it may be necessary to manually edit the design parameters such as brace length, lateral torsional buckling length, effective length factors, and etc. So editing these parameters one by one for each member may prove difficult, of course. So the latest ProtaStructure will now give you a batch editing option for still design parameters. This one is about detailing and design, beam reinforced concrete beam design. The secondary beam, primary beam connections in RC structures require special attention. Usually, hanger links are required in the vicinity of the secondary connection. Hanger links are also required in the primary beam where a transfer column sits. So ProtaStructure will now detect such situations and provide hanger links automatically. You can see the hanger link confinement in beam elevation drawings. And the hanger link quantity, diameter, and spacing can also be set by clicking the hanger links button on the beam rebar editor. An essential feature in the latest release was the design of formworks and formwork scaffolds. Why we included this feature? Because in some countries, engineers must submit the design calculations for formworks scaffolds, and facade scaffolds. So ProtaStructure is also able to design the formworks for columns, walls, beams, and slabs, etc. And also it is done to Eurocode regulations. Okay. I want to pause a little bit here and talk about what you can do to learn more about what we have done in ProtaStructure. I try to cover what we have done in the official release on March and in the 6 maintenance releases after that. But if you want to learn more about what is done in these releases, you can visit the release history page in our website. Here you will see a complete list of new features and improvements with detailed explanations. As I said, our philosophy in ProtaStructure 2022 is to give you as many new features as possible through the maintenance updates. And also we prioritize the user satisfaction in that sense. And we give importance to your efficiency. So we didn't want to hide these features for the next major release. So we immediately released them for your use. And also, I want to emphasize that we have been really busy creating design guides on various topics. They are published in the white paper section of our website. And please don't forget to benefit from them. Usually this can be easily missed out, but there are really helpful topics, helpful articles there. And another important resource for you is the Prota Help Center. We always publish design guides and videos in our Help Center. You can access hundreds of articles in our knowledge base, and you can join the community and you can submit tickets in our online support center. Of course, we only provide the technical support to our maintained users. Another important source for you is the YouTube channel. We have a large collection of video tutorials and webinar recordings in our YouTube channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you want to get notified of the new content. And I want to thank you all for participating today, and stay safe, everybody. Thanks a lot.